Back again with another Bond review, and today we're going to talk about A View to a Kill. And I do like this movie. And I know Roger Moore, here you could definitely see his age. I mean, he was probably around 57 during the filming. So, yeah, Roger Moore, he was probably too old to play the part. But to me, this is still a solid Bond film and a good outing and swan song for Roger Moore. But the plot real quick, you have Bond, he's back from his travels with a computer chip, one that is invulnerable to the magnetic pulse of a nuclear explosion. And this microchip, or computer chip, is manufactured by Zorin Industries, headed by our main villain Max Zorin, played by Christopher Walken. And I would try to give you a Walken impression, but it would not be good. But he's sort of a sociopath, businessman type, no-nonsense type of villain. But, you know, his plot, he's planning to corner the world microchip market by using the explosives to cause an earthquake in the San Andreas Fault that would wipe out Silicon Valley and the millions of people that live there. And you have his henchwoman, Mayday, who is played by Grace Jones. So it's up to 007 to, you know, stop our main villain here and to stop his plot. And that's the plot pretty much. But yeah, View to a Kill, like I said, it's a solid Bond movie. You know, even, yeah, like I said, Roger Moore, he's definitely showing his age here. He's still good in the film. But, you know, even before I get to the cast, I mean, you know, the way the film kicks off where you see Bond in Siberia and he's going down these mountains, and that was fun stuff. I mean, a fun way to, you know, start off the movie, you know, to get some action in the beginning, some snowboard action, and then Bond finds a way out where he sees this craft because there's a lot of icebergs around, and this craft is made out of an iceberg. Like, you see a hatch open, and he gets into this, like, you know, craft, and it's made out of an iceberg. And I thought it was really cool. You know, even before that, you get a little bit of snowboard action. But yeah, a good way to kick off the movie, and a good theme. You know, A View to a Kill by Duran Duran. I like the theme. Now that I'm talking about it again, I want to go back and listen to it. But, you know, going over the cast here, pull up the cast. You know, again, Roger Moore, even with the age, he's still good here. You know, he still has that, you know, charm and persona. You know, he does a good job here. I felt he did a better job here than, let's say, you know, Octopussy to me. I don't know, it felt like, and I know Roger Moore, he's not a fan of this movie. He said this was his least favorite Bond film because of the violence and what have you. But I still like this movie, and Roger Moore wasn't bad here. You know, even for, you know, his last Bond film, he did a good job. And, you know, again, it was a good outing for, you know, Mr. Roger Moore. You know, Tanya Roberts as this granddaughter of this oil tycoon, you know, she's kind of our Bond girl here, which unfortunately she passed away. And, you know, the way that all happened, where it was prematurely announced and, you know, oh, she's dead. But, oh, wait, she's not dead. Oh, okay, now she's dead. I'm like, you know, the way that was handled was kind of bullshit. But Tanya Roberts, I thought she was okay. I mean, not one of my favorite Bond girls, but, you know, she's pretty to look at, but I don't know. She wasn't like, she didn't really stand out to me compared to prior Bond girls, but again, she's not bad. Rest in peace, you know, Tanya Roberts. And again, I'm sorry about, you know, what happened there and that whole thing of her passing. I thought, I don't know, just the way that was handled and made public, I thought that was kind of, someone should be fired. But rest in peace, Tanya Roberts. Again, you have Mayday, Christopher Walken's henchwoman in the film, played by Grace Jones. Grace Jones from Conan the Destroyer. And at the time, apparently she was dating Dolph Lundgren. And apparently he has a scene in the film. Dolph Lundgren has a quick cameo, but I may have missed it. But he does have a scene in here somewhere. I don't know why I didn't look out for it. But, Grace Jones, she was definitely good here. Definitely a highlight to the film because her character possesses superhuman strength. And, again, she's the henchwoman of our main villain, but in a lot of ways, you could say she outshines Christopher Walken. And I like Christopher Walken, and I'll get to him in a second. But, Grace Jones definitely has a presence here. I liked her as a villain, and she had some good characteristics. Being that she has super strength. There's this one scene where she picks up this one guy and kind of throws him, to the side. But, again, Grace Jones is good. You have this one character who's an ally of Bond who helps Bond a little bit in the beginning. Well, not in the beginning, but kind of in the first half of investigating our main villain, this character Tibbet, played by Patrick Macnee. Unfortunately, he's passed away. But I thought he was good. I mean, again, the character, he helps Bond for a little bit. He's a horse trainer. But I liked the actor. I liked sort of the back and forth between him and Bond. So he wasn't bad. You have our villain here, Max Zorin. Again, sort of a psychopath type industrialist, and he's trying to gain a monopoly in the microchip market. Christopher Walken here, he's not bad, but the thing is, Christopher Walken with this character, he doesn't display a lot of intimidation. Because it's Christopher Walken, he can play a great villain, but I don't know if a Bond villain suited Christopher Walken. It's like you needed somebody else, and it's funny because I'm thinking, what if they had a Rutger Hauer, play this character? Because I can see where Rutger Hauer, he can display intimidation a little bit more. And funny enough, I did not know until I looked in the trivia that this part was offered to Rutger Hauer, and he turned it down. And I don't know why. Maybe at the time he was filming The Hitcher, maybe that was it. And apparently David Bowie was up for this part. But, Christopher Walken throughout the movie, he has his moments, but at the same time, he didn't display or convey, intimidation. Or, there's a little bit in the end where he's, killing a bunch of people in these mines. I'm like, okay, our villain is, has his moments where, he's cold-blooded. So you got that little bit in the end where he's taking out people in the mines. But that's just one scene where, again, he's showing intimidation that, he's a psychopath. Christopher Walken's a great actor, but at the same time, again, like I said, I don't know if he was suited for this type of role. When I could have seen like a Rutger Hauer, play this character. Like, to me, he's better. He would be better in this type of role. But Christopher Walken's still a great actor. So, but yeah, and I'll get back to him a little bit. And some other characters here. You have Q back, of course. Scarpine, who's another associate of our main villain here. You would have the head of the KGB, General Gogol, played by Walter Gotell. And this is a sort of a recurring character here. But, overall the cast, I would say the cast is very solid. Roger Moore, he's good. Once again, as the character of Bond, even with the age factor, he still has that charm about, his portrayal. And he's still great. Again, Tanya Roberts, even though she's not a standout Bond girl for me, but she was okay. Grace Jones, I definitely a highlight of the cast. Christopher Walken, yeah, you can't. It's probably a little bit hard to buy him as like a Bond villain. Again, maybe you could have had another actor play that role, but he's still not bad here. So the cast does fine. I mean, some of the action scenes you got here, you have, some action in Paris where some bits on the Eiffel Tower where, Bond is after, the character of Mayday, and they go to the very top, and, Mayday jumps off and, opens a parachute, and then Bond is trying to chase down, Mayday. So you got a good little bit of action there. And then you got some action on I guess you would say, the compound of our main villain, where there's some horse breeding stuff going on. That's part of the plot. Like injecting the horses with some kind of steroid. And Bond is trying to find out more about that. So he's in our main villain's house, and a big mansion. And he's trying to find out more about that with with the character of Tibbet, and a couple of fights here and there, which I thought was okay. And then, kind of gearing up towards, the third act, where you got some action in these mines, and you got a really exciting climax on the Golden Gate Bridge, which I thought was a lot of fun. I'm just looking for a second. Yeah, it was the Golden Gate Bridge, but basically our main villain has this blimp, and Bond is able to tie the rope around the bridge and, trying to keep the blimp in one position. And, the main villain, again, Christopher Walken, is trying to stop Bond. And I thought the whole third act was really fun to watch. Really exciting stuff where they're on top of the bridge. And, yeah, I mean, really cool stuff. And then Christopher Walken gets it where he falls off the bridge. And this one other villain tries to kill Bond with dynamite. And then he unties the rope, and, the blimp takes off. And it blows up, and a good explosion. So there's compared to the previous one, Never Say Never Again, I felt the action was, better here. When it does happen, and it has, again, practical explosions, it's well shot. Yeah, I mean, some good action sprinkled throughout the first half, and then you have an exciting climax here. So the action to me really worked here. So yeah, I mean, I dug the action. But as far as other stuff to mention, I mean, I know I didn't really talk about gadgets and Never Say Never Again. But to backtrack for a second on that one, I really enjoyed the rocket pen that he has in that movie with Sean Connery. I do remember that bit, that little gadget of the rocket pen, which is a cool scene. And then the motorcycle, the Yamaha that Sean Connery has in that movie, I also liked. But here you got some good stuff too. I mean, you have the polarizing glasses that Roger Moore has in the film. You have this ring camera. I'm looking at the gadgets right here. This little ring that is also a camera that takes pictures. So a couple of little notable gadgets to mention. And, I mean, the film, the runtime is probably at 2 hours. Let me see, how long is this movie here? Yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes. But, to me, it moved along better. Even for that kind of runtime, I mean, for me, it kept me involved. And it was cool to see Roger Moore. I like Christopher Walken, even though I have, there's a nitpick there that I've already mentioned. and some good action. I mean, throughout the movie, some good locations, as well. I like the locations of San Francisco and Paris, and the beginning of the film, and then what's your problem? And then, like I said, the pre-title stuff, the sequences in the beginning with the the mountains and the snowboard action. And I was trying to think what else to mention here. I mean, the film was another, big hit. I see right here the budget was around 30 million, and it made box office total of 153 million. So, once again, another big hit. And even though, which I have already mentioned, I know a few times already, but with Roger Moore's age and such, which you definitely see throughout the movie, I still felt this was a solid movie and outing for Roger Moore. And again, I know he's not a fan of this movie because he felt that it was a little bit too violent, and I guess he's referring to the scene where Christopher Walken's laying out everybody in the mines. But I didn't mind it. I know, again, this was his least favorite Bond movie. And again, I wonder what, like I mentioned earlier, what Rutger Hauer would have done in this as the villain. And, of course, you have John Glen, who would direct For Your Eyes Only. He would come back here. So overall, A View to a Kill, solid Bond movie. It's maybe my third favorite Roger Moore Bond film. We'll see what happens when I talk about my top 15. Where would this fit? But at the end of the day, I still like this movie, and it was a good effort, good swan song for Roger Moore. So that's my review of A View to a Kill. But thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my next Bond review. And have a good day.